What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a Thursday edition of GDT Live, presented by the Game Day Types podcast. My name is Dayton Camo. Alongside me, Colton Davies, as always. Today, we're going to have Adam Kierszenblat, friend of the show. Almost a weekly occurrence by now. Not a weekly occurrence, but a regular occurrence, I would say. Adam is someone that can come on here. He loves to talk about the WHL Vancouver side. He's a writer for the Hockey News. Anything Vancouver, Adam loves. So we're definitely going to chat some WHL with him later. But Colton and I have a fun first half hour of the show that we got planned for you guys. Colton, how you doing today on this beautiful Thursday?
I am good. I'm good. How's Dayton?
Not too bad, not too bad. I tried to watch some of this Canada versus Hungary Halinka pre-tournament game that was on. Turns out there's no link for it. There is a link, but it's in Italian or Hungarian, I believe, because it's the Erste Bank link, and I was not watching that and paying for it. So I turned on some J20 Deer Gardens versus Leksands for 20 minutes, and then I got tired of listening to a Swedish broadcaster that I couldn't understand, so I just turned on the box score of the Canada Halinka game.
That's fair. How is that looking?
Well, right now I can tell you that Canada is up 6-1 in the second period against Hungary in their first pre-tournament game. Canada opened the scoring shorthanded from Jean-Christophe Lemieux and then Adam Valentini on the power play, assisted by Landon Dupont, Tynan Lawrence, and then Tynan Lawrence on the power play, assisted by Matisse Preston and Pierce Bowie, and then Beckham Edwards, assisted by Alessandro Diorio, and then Belchets, assisted by Dupont and Verhoff, and Damien Zilkin, assisted by Valentini and Dupont. So Dupont has his name all over this game already. Belchits has a goal. Lawrence has a goal and an assist. Just the guys that you would expect to kind of light this tournament up, and they're already going for Canada.
And they're playing Hungary, so that's just that's fun for Hungary.
Yeah, I just can't see a world where any game against Hungary would go differently for Canada, but it's a good start. It's a good tune-up game, I guess.
Weirder things have happened. So, why don't we talk about the clip that we've had that's kind of taken over Twitter X and gone viral?
Yeah. You want to explain that, and then I'll play it?
Yeah, so we had Craig Button on like a month ago, and we've just been slowly rolling out clips for stuff as we are, excessively behind. But nonetheless, Craig had a bit of insight on the CHL NCAA debacle, and Craig talked about why CHL players are going to leave the NCAA and come back to the CHL. And so we clipped that, put that out, and it's kind of taken the internet by storm. So why don't we roll that for you guys, and you guys can take a listen to it.
Don't be surprised one bit. Don't be, and it's going to come as soon as this year, where you see a number of players eligible to still play in the CHL that are going to come back and play in the CHL because a few things. They're not ready for the NCAA hockey. They see that the demands are a little bit greater than maybe they're ready for right at this age. That doesn't mean they can't be. It just means they're not going to be, embracing it to the extent that they need to embrace it. So don't be surprised when we see players that have committed to come back to the CHL. I don't think there'll be any question that will happen.
So I think with that, like, Craig is probably correct in that sense that things are going to be interesting this year. I mean, Jeff Merrick talked about it yesterday on the sheet as well, but players are going to go to the NCAA and things aren't going to be the same as they once were for them when they played in the CHL, right? My thing with it is, we've already seen players go to the NCAA and then leave the NCAA and come back to the CHL. Tyson Jugmouth is one of them. There's other players, of course, as well. I can remember back to the Blazers days back in, I think it was 2008 or 2009, but Corey Finhage, who left, I believe it was the University of Minnesota Duluth, to come and play for the Kamloops Blazers. And he was a Buffalo Sabres draft pick, and things didn't end up panning out well for him. But players have gone the NCAA route, like Canadian players, and left it because it's not what they're used to. Will we see like a mass movement of players going back and forth? Probably not. but there's going to be a select few players that I think are going to go down there, and it's just not going to be what they're used to, and they're going to come back.
Yeah, definitely. You said on the sheet yesterday that Jeff was talking about it. Jeff was talking about it with Pierre Maguire, and Pierre actually put out a good little clip about it, or Jeff put out a good little clip of Pierre saying that his son played at 2 Division 1 schools, and one in the ECAC, one in Hockey East, and it just wasn't as smooth of a transition. And he did say that playing D1 hockey is a little harder than some of these kids might think. And a lot of these kids, like, yes, the CHL has education and stuff for these players, and they are going to school, but it's college and university, and it's a whole new world. Like, you jump into it, and it's not just being a hockey player, but it's being a student athlete that these kids might not like fully grasp. You know what I mean? Going to class and then going to play the game, where their mind might be just like fully hockey.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that that's just where, we're still in August, and like the season hasn't even started yet for the NCAA, and things are already being said about players not going to like it. I think people need to kind of pump the brakes a bit and just, watch what happens, watch what unfolds. But you're right. The focus is going to be on academics too, right? That's going to be a big focal point of why they're down there, and you have to have good grades in order to play too, right? Like, these certain schools have GPA requirements where you have to meet that threshold, or else you are not allowed. It's for football, but you're not allowed on the field. So exactly, probably the same exact state or case for hockey. You're not allowed on the ice. You're not allowed to practice unless your GPA is at a certain, level. So, like, will a player like, Jeff used Ryder Ritchie as an example yesterday, so we'll just use him as an example as well. But like, will Ryder Ritchie not want to, will he be the one player that goes to BU and realizes that, oh, I don't really like this, and he comes back? Not who knows, right? I'm just using Ryder Ritchie as an example. That's what Jeff Merrick used yesterday. So I think, if anything, though, like, if you're going to commit to the NCAA, though, I think already the academic requirements, but maybe you're just not exactly in tune with what exactly it takes for you to be able to, compete and play and perform at an NCAA level. You're muted.
Sweet. Dog was barking. Saw one of the comments on the post yesterday that we released on on Twitter, and it said, "Oh, great! So the focus of the discussion has changed from CHL players not going to the NCAA because the NCAA or because the players are too good or something, to now the CHL players are going to leave the NCAA because they're not ready to play NCAA hockey." And the guy was kind of like, "Pick your argument here. Which one is it?" And I don't think they're like. It's hard to say. I don't think anyone was saying that the kids aren't going to go because the league isn't good enough, and now they're going to go back because the league's too good. I just think they might not have realized what all goes into it. You walk into a dressing room and you see all, like North Dakota, for example, you see all the cryo chambers and like stuff that they use for training at high altitudes, and all the pro level stuff that they got in there. And you walk in, you're like, yeah, I'm playing here. But then you get there and you're like, shit, I got classes all week. I don't want to play here.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, I get that side of it too, for sure. But realistically, I think a lot of players like are gonna stay too. Like, guys like Gavin McKenna and stuff, I don't think they would be going to the NCAA unless, they knew what it kind of took. You know what I mean?
Well, I also just don't think a guy like Gavin McKenna, imagine what it would do to the hockey world if Gavin McKenna committed to Penn State and then decommitted from Penn State and went back to the WHL. Like, what would that do? That it would just create too much whirlwind in the hockey community. It would create way too much for people to talk about. People would be making stories of that left, right, and center, and I just don't think it would happen. So, like, obviously, guys of that caliber, they're going to play, and Gavin McKenna is going to play top 6 minutes first year at Penn State, no doubt.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's going to light it up. I don't think there's any doubts that McKenna is going to just, light up the NCAA next year. I think he has what it takes to be the best player in NCAA's history, but we'll see what happens, right? Like, he's got a lot riding on his shoulders, a lot of pressure this year, a lot of expectations, I think. Like the big topic is how nobody's talking about Keaton Verhoff because everyone's talking about Gavin McKenna and what can Verhoff do. And, Verhoff is one of the best two-way defensemen in years to even be available in a draft. And is this guy going to be better than Gavin McKenna? And there's so many variables and topics that have been talked about already. Like, we just need the season to start so we can see what McKenna looks like at the NCAA level and playing at that level. But I don't think he's going to miss a beat. I honestly think he's going to just light up, and I think he'll win the Hobie Baker.
Oh, yeah, I think it's definitely a good call for that. Why don't we move on to the next thing before we jump into these the special thing that we had cooked up here? There's one more thing that I noticed on social media, a couple things actually that I noticed on social media today. First one was last night. I noticed the Kunlun Red Star posted a video and they were like, "All good things must come to an end," with no context at all. And I was like, what? And then this morning they just changed their whole account. They rebranded to the Shanghai Dragons, and so yeah, that's cool. Shanghai Dragons, newest KHL team.
They stay in China, so that's cool.
Yes. I think the rule still applies that they have to have like a certain amount of Chinese players on their team, like something like that. Yes. But the other international hockey rule that I found, CHL no return rule. I thought this was pretty cool. People have been talking about this in the NHL for a while, and in overtime now in the CHL, not the Canadian Hockey League, but the Champions Hockey League. So in overtime now in the CHL, if the offensive team takes the puck out of their offensive zone and back into the neutral zone, the play will stop and they will be assessed a face-off in the defensive zone. So the play will come all the way back down. That's to kind of try and limit the offensive zone retreats by a team that's attacking, which obviously is leading to more and more shootouts. But so I think that's a good one. I think that's something that the NHL should implement sometime soon.
I like it. So you can't just constantly go drop the puck back and constantly just go skate in circles around people. And
if there's no option in the offensive zone, you'll see a defenseman just backpedal, regroup, and start again. They can't do that now.
That's good. I think that's a fair rule. If the NHL added that, that would be interesting because it would make 3-on-3 overtime, I think, a lot more exciting. It's definitely dull at the moment.
Yeah. Well, Colton, you get that thing ready, and I'll tell everybody what this is. So Matthew Tkachuk was obviously posted on the NHL 26 cover for EA Sports, and a lot of people were having some banter, some backlash about it. So myself and Colton, we said, hey, let's go ahead and let's rank some of the recent NHL video game covers. And I think Colton and I, we had a bit of fun doing it the other day, ranking the CHL jerseys with the guys. So we went ahead, and Colton actually went ahead and made a tier maker list for us today. So we're gonna go ahead and rank some NHL 20 or NHL video game covers.
All right, we'll start with NHL 06, the Vinny Lecavalier one. Now remember, we're ranking the covers, not the actual games, or else some of these games would obviously be at the top already. I think NHL 06, this was one of the first games I remember going to EB Games and buying this, but I think it's mid.
The first NHL game I got was 07. And then I was like, Mom, Sidney Crosby's not in this game. You have to take it back. So she took it back and got me 08 because Sidney Crosby was in the game.
That's incredible. Okay, NHL 07. What do you figure? That's the one with Ovechkin.
Yeah, and I like that one because it's the old jerseys too.
I'm gonna go really good.
Okay.
This is the one with Eric Stahl, of course. Now, honestly, this was probably the worst because they did nothing
Yeah.
with it. They also did nothing with the Dion Phaneuf cover.
And Dion Phaneuf I don't know. Back then, Dion Phaneuf was kind of good, but
NHL 10, I'm gonna say is really good because that Patrick Kane one was they did good with that.
Yes.
Jonathan Taves one was good.
Back-to-back Blackhawks too.
I'll say Taves was good. NHL 12 with Stamkos.
That's the one that Stamkos was on. I think that's a good one. Is this Giroux?
Yeah.
I
think it's one of the best, but
yeah.
I don't know if it is. I just don't know if it's the best because I think NHL 14.
Just keep it at really good for now.
Yeah. Okay. NHL 14 with Brodeur.
See, this is where the it gets sticky, right? Because this is easily the best game, but we're not doing games.
Yes. No, this is the best game for sure, but I'm still gonna say it's really good though.
For sure.
They kind of dropped the ball with the Bergeron one.
Yeah, they could have used a better picture too.
So I'm gonna go with meh. That's just meh. That's terrible. Honestly.
Yeah, that actually might be the worst.
That's true. Oh, we have more NHL games from back here. NHL 2000. It's with Chris Pronger.
Oh, that was before I was even alive.
Good Lord, I'm old. I'm gonna go with good. Oh, 2001. Also not. That's not the best. The one with Mario. That one's good. The one with Iggy.
Was that 04 or 05?
I think Iggy was 03 because.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the one with Danny Heatley. Oh my God, good.
Is that a Thrashers jersey on Danny Heatley?
Yep.
That's amazing. That
Might
actually might be really
one.
good. It might be the best, he goes.
The Marcus Naslund one, it was kind of plain, but I'll just put it at meh.
Yeah, that's the thing. Why would you use a white jersey on the cover? I think it needs some more color.
Also meh for that one, and also meh for NHL 99. Sorry.
Yeah.
For the nostalgic ones, but NHL 17 with Vladimir Tarasenko. Honestly, not bad.
Yeah, I'd say good. Probably good.
Big Willie, I'm glad you were alive. I was also alive, but then I was 5 years old. That game came out. NHL 18.
Probably just
meh.
Yeah, and they went with the same style as that for 19 too, kind of. But 19 was all right. I did like it.
I don't like the Subban one.
Really? I just liked how it was different. It was like orange in the background. It popped. You can put it with Connor McDavid because it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, the NHL 21. I don't know how I feel about it. I like the. I don't know.
Matthews didn't look like Matthews though.
Yeah, it looked like AI before AI became popular. This one was cool. NHL 21.
21 was pretty cool.
This one with Matthews again.
Not, yeah, probably keep it with good. I'd say it's good because it does have some cool value to it.
It's got like the locker room tunnel stuff in the background. The one with Trevor Zegras and Sarah Nurse. Oh,
no.
Okay, we're gonna put that the worst.
That's terrible.
Makar.
I like this one.
I like this one, but
yeah.
And then the one with the Hughes brother. I didn't do the Kachuk one because I forgot, but the Hughes brothers.
That's okay. Probably good. I don't know if it's really good, but it is different. You know what I mean?
It's different. It's unique that they went with the three brothers, but I don't know if it's like
it doesn't pop out. You know what I mean? It doesn't you know what I mean? If I turn on NHL, I want to be like, whoa, you're playing NHL. I also don't know
What do you not agree with?
No, I was just gonna say I also don't know if I feel that way with like the new Kachuk brothers. Like, I don't feel like I turn on NHL. I'm like that. I'm playing NHL. I just see like Brady, Matthew, and Keith.
I think that's fair. I think this list is fair.
50 and 07, Patrick Kane, number 10, and then NHL 21.
With Ovi?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Because they did a good background on NHL 21.
Actually,
like,
you know who they kind of snubbed from the cover?
Who?
Ovi.
Well, yeah. They could have done Ovi for the 800. That would have been so sick.
That would have been so
The
sick. I literally
Not
broke
for
a...
the 800, but for the record, for the Gretzky record.
Oh, Willie says Sid. Sid got snubbed, apparently.
Sid's never been on a cover.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
All right. So that's our list.
All right, fellas. Let us know in the comments if you agree, because that was kind of fun to make for sure.
That was fun. I think those lists are sweet, but yeah, they're and you're right, Willie. Nate also has not been on a cover, but
Oh, that would be a pretty cool one, actually.
yeah, have them two together.
I'll throw my bias into this, but it'd be a pretty cool one. Sid, Nate, and Brad all on a cover. The Blue Nose Boys. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, of course, he would buy that.
I'd so buy it. Just give me a limited edition Nova Scotia.
That's true. That's true. We got to come up with okay, now that we've done video game covers, we'll have to do the actual video games themselves next time. But what other tier lists do you want us to do? I know Willie has said he wants us to do NCAA jerseys and international ones too.
I think. Well, he said college hockey, right? We need to do NCAA.
Yeah.
And then I think a good one to do would be international, because that gets some good debate going, but it also gets like a lot of good, cool jerseys in there too.
Yeah, see, that'd be fun. We have to do that. We'll do that maybe next week.
Definitely. Okay.
Oh, college hockey arenas, Willie says.
Oh, that's a good one. Ranking the arenas.
Cool.
Not bad.
I'm into that.
Maine just got a new arena. I actually want to go down to Maine and check out the new arena down there.
You should.
It's only like a 12-hour drive.
Oh, only.
Well, that's short for me. Like if I want to go anywhere, it's like I have to drive like 12, 13 hours.
That's what happens when you live on an island.
Peninsula. We're connected.
Okay, not an island. I've been corrected.
All right, Colton. Well, we do have Adam backstage, ready to talk some WHL and everything in between. You want to bring him on?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Hey, Adam, how's it going?
Hey guys, going good. How are you guys today?
Good. What is going on in the world of the WHL? We are 3 weeks away pretty much from the preseason opening up. I believe Tri-City and Wenatchee play on the 29th of August it is. What do you kind of make of the exodus of players from the WHL going to the NCAA?
Yeah, I mean, Colton, you and I have talked about this for months at this point. I mean, it's not really surprising. I think the fact that we're still seeing some players make their decisions is interesting. Like Roger McQueen only making his decision in August is interesting timing, because I would have assumed that most of these schools would have had their rosters kind of set by now, because the NCAA does start doing all their training before the WHL does. That's why NCAA players can't go to training camp a lot of the time, because there's conflicting with the NCAA. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, we've known McKenna was going to leave for a while. Jackson Smith, we knew was going to leave. McQueen, we didn't really hear much, but obviously he left. So it's just kind of interesting to see these players leaving, but also a little bit of influx of talent from players who are going to the NCAA in the future, now being able to come to the WHL. So, I mean, you lose a little bit of star power, but you kind of gain some interesting prospects at the same time.
Adam, the WHL was the hardest hit league out of all three, the QMJHL, the OHL, and the WHL. Does this kind of open up a spotlight, if you will, for guys like Berkeley Catton that are still kind of waiting around in the CHL?
Well, I know that Cadden is going to get his 9-game trial with Seattle. Like, their GM Ron Francis has already made that very clear that they're going to give him every opportunity that they can to make the team. But I mean, I look at guys like Carter Bear. Like, Carter Bear is coming back to the Everett Silvertips. He made that very clear. Like, those type of guys who have made this commitment. Brain Coots is another one. He signed his ELC with Vancouver. He's coming back to the WHL next year. So it's going to be interesting to see how these players are able to thrive in the WHL and kind of what the league looks like as a whole. I'm also very interested to see what Team Canada does with this NCAA situation, because we know that in the past they haven't been too keen on taking NCAA players. You look at Bradley Nadeau a couple years ago, like they didn't want to take him to the World Juniors. Now you basically have no option. Like, you have to take, if you want Gavin McKenna, you have to take NCAA player. Like, but we'll see exactly how that plays out. There's still a couple players that I'm interested to see. Ravensburgen is one where we thought that he would have announced a commitment by now. He hasn't, so that might open up the door for Prince George. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year with the WHL, and to see which players, if more players start to leave in this month leading up to the season.
With Ravensburgen, do you, I kind of wanted to chat about this. You feel like that if he comes back, it opens up a door for potentially Kelowna to go and try and grab him?
Yeah, I think that Kelowna, obviously, they've done some work this offseason. Tijiginla is going to come back. That's the plan right now, unless he announces a commitment, which I don't think is going to happen. He's going to be healthy. Like, they've stocked up on some good young players. Goaltending is kind of the big question mark around there. I could see them going after Ravensburgen, but it all depends on what Prince George wants to do. Like, Prince George is in this kind of weird transition phase where it's like they have some good players like Carson Carrolls, but like, are you in a rebuild? Are you in a let's try to make the playoffs and go on a run here? Because the whole WHL, like, as a whole, like, Victoria lost significant talent. So the BC division is kind of in flux at the moment. Like, you could see Kelowna winning it. You could see Vancouver winning it. Penticton, we don't know what their roster is exactly going to look like. Vancouver could win the BC division. Like, they have they have good players coming back.
What about Kamloops?
Well, I don't even know. Like, we don't know what Kamloops' roster is going to look like 100%. Like, Kamloops is losing some of their best players as well.
We're technically, so if Brunick makes the NHL, we lose him. But Bame is back, so that's good. Lafreniere is back, so that's good. I can't really say this, so I'll have to watch how I say it. But a USHL player is coming. So we know that for a fact. So there's some players, but yeah, you're right. I think it's definitely an interesting year. I was just talking with somebody the other day about the Blazers and like what maybe they might do. And will a guy like Harrison Brunick or Nathan Bame be a target for a WHL team that wants to load up come trade deadline? Not bad options, especially with Brunick. I think Brunick is definitely a trade bait piece if it gets down to that. Well, if Kamloops ends up deciding that's what they're going to do. But from your perspective, Adam, what are some of the trade bait pieces that you can kind of think of already? Like Berkeley Catton has to be one of them as well, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see with Berkeley Catton. I think that when you have Mathis Preston and you have like a decent decor like Spokane does, like, I think they're still in the we're gonna try this year and see if Canada doesn't come back, that changes the perspective completely. But I think Spokane is still in that we're one of the better teams in the U.S. division, even though we are gonna lose Andrew Crystal and Shea Van Ohm. But I think that Spokane is still good enough. I mean, when you look at it, it's so hard to tell exactly what teams are going to look like this year because there's been so much movement, and also the addition of a third import player is massive. Teams are going to be able to stock up on better import players because they have that third spot. So that's going to play a big factor overall. It's just really junior hockey is so hard to predict year over year to start with, but now the fact that 2 days before the season starts, a player could leave. Brandon, in the Roger McQueen situation, Brandon was probably building their roster, slotting him in as their 1C, first power play, first short, first penalty kill, first everything, and now they have to pivot completely. So I'm just interested to see how teams kind of react to what's going to be happening, and the influx of younger talent that is going to the NCAA, not this year but next year. It's really I think every division is a toss up. We even Medicine Hat, we would have pegged Medicine Hat as probably the favorite in the East. Now it's are they in a rebuild? They're losing half of their team essentially a year earlier than expected. So it's just so volatile right now.
You talk about the third imports and how important that is. Who does Vancouver have for import players coming in this year?
Vancouver. So we'll see exactly how Vancouver plays out their import situation at the moment. They have Tobias Tomic, who they drafted 2 years, or not this past draft, the draft before. He's coming in. He's Slovakian. He's going to be a player that looks like he's going to be in that discussion for World Juniors. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. And then Jan Skok, defenseman from Czechia. He's going to be on that Czechia. He's projected to be on that Czechia roster for the World Juniors as well. So those are two good ones. And then we'll see exactly what happens with their third slot. I believe the plan is to bring back Tittlebach, but I don't know 100% what's going to happen with that third slot. But yeah, those are two good imports to start with. And then they're just going to build out the roster there.
One thing I was curious about, have you at all heard anything about Mason West coming to the Giants? Because I know his rights are owned by Vancouver. Has there been any indication that he might come to the WHL, or is he staying going to the USHL after he's done his year in high school here?
Well, I think he's going to Fargo, correct? Or he played for Fargo last year.
Yeah.
I believe Mason West is going to the UCHL next year. I think that's what it is projected. I haven't heard anything on if he's coming to the WHL. But I mean, we could see it Aiden Park last year, right? Aiden Park played his whole year in the USHL and then came to Calgary at the end of the season and played in the playoffs. I wonder if we're going to start seeing a little bit of that more, where when their USHL season ends, they could come to the WHL, OHL, QMJHL, something like that for, a month or two and kind of continue to develop that way. Now, I don't know, because he's already drafted. I don't know if that is going to be just for players who are looking to get drafted and get extra development and extra eyes before the draft, or if this is just going to affect everybody. But I mean, Mason West would be, obviously, when you can add a first round pick in the NHL, that would be massive. But as far as I've heard, I don't think he's coming to the WHL, but I hope he is. That would be great. That'd be another great ad for the entire league.
Yeah, it would be huge, especially. Hanat Dominicelli has kind of taken over as GM now in Vancouver. What has he kind of been able to do so far, and what do you make of what he's gonna do behind the bench? Not behind the bench, sorry, but up in the press box.
Well, I talked to him on his introduction press conference, just like off to the side, and I mean, this is a guy who really understands junior hockey well.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of asked him like what the plan was with everything, and he said that they're still working on creating lists, slotting in players. They just brought in Wasey Rabbit, who has a ton of experience as their assistant coach. This is a guy who won a Memorial Cup in Vancouver. So that's always a great addition. But where I think he's going to have a big influence, and I talked to him a little bit about it, was especially the imports, because he's coming in from Europe, right? So he has he's already created these scouting networks. And he also pointed that out to me, like when we were talking a little bit about that, where he's like, yeah, I know, I probably have a little bit more knowledge of these younger guys coming up because I've been scouting them already in Europe. So that could help the Giants maybe in the future, bringing in some imports. But like I said, this guy knows how to assemble teams. He knows what type of coaches to hire, what type of game plans to really set up, how to connect with younger players. So, I mean, it's a good hire. And I'm interested to see kind of how his skill set translates to the WHL.
Adam, a player that I wanted to touch on from Vancouver, he got drafted, and we were talking about him earlier on a couple months ago, but we were kind of expecting him to go a little bit higher than he did. Cameron Schmidt, he fell to the 3rd round. Do you think that was a little bit due to his size? Because I know the size was a big thing at the draft this year, or is that just kind of where Schmidt was fit to go?
I think with Schmidt, yeah, like size definitely plays a factor, but also when you're trying to draft prospects, you're looking for all-around games. So Schmidt is dynamic offensively. He's got the great speed, but the question is like, where is his defensive level at the moment? And I know that's what a lot of teams were looking at, where it's like, it's great if you can score 40 goals in the WHL, but can you also be defensively responsible and be able to impact the game at both ends of the ice? Now, Schmidt is still developing that part of his game. That's what the WHL is for. These guys are, 18 years old. It's very rare to get a Berkeley Cannon who's basically all around, right? Like,
Yeah.
So this year is going to be massive for Schmidt. Like, he is going to take on more responsibility because Tyler Thorpe's no longer there. Jaden Lipinski's no longer there. Like, these guys that have led the team for the last couple years aren't there. So he's going to have to really step up. And I'm interested to see what type of size he's added during this off season, because it's hard to grow. Like, you can't grow from 5'6" to like 5'10". It's very hard to do that in the summer. But what you can do is you can go from 130 to 150 pounds. Like, that's what you can do. So is he stronger, muscular? Is he more difficult to knock off the puck? And also, like, is he more engaged in the defensive zone where he's, lifting sticks, getting sticks in lanes? Because we know if he lifts a stick or if he breaks up a pass and he starts to go, like, there's few players who can catch him. So if he can add that second element to his game, then that's going to be the real question. But I mean, if you look at it, like, Riley Heidt is kind of a similar situation. Like, that was a later round pick. Everybody thought that he was going to go probably early second. He didn't. So I mean, that's kind of that was a similar situation where Heidt had to work on his defensive side of his game. So I mean, only time will tell. But I mean, based off of where he is right now and based off of his development at the moment, I think 3rd round is kind of where it would be expected.
78 points last year from him. Do you think he could maybe hit 85, 90 maybe this year?
I know that the Giants are hoping that he hits 50 goals. That would be huge. I think that, he's not going to have the distraction of the draft anymore, which I think is actually very important to, like, consider. A lot of these players, when they get drafted, there's a lot of interviews that go on during the year. There's a lot of stress that goes on. Like, if they're in a bad slump, that slump could continue because it could play a little bit of a factor. Like, oh, I haven't produced the point in 3-4 games, that's going to hurt my draft stock. There's no CHL prospect game that he has to attend to. So he can focus solely on the game itself. And I think him and Ryan Lynn are going to create this dynamic partnership, especially on the power play, that could really rack up the points. So, I mean, yeah, he definitely could be in that 80 to 90 point range. But I think with Schmidt, it's really about, is he going to get the 50 goals or not? Like that's going to be the big storyline when it comes to Schmidt and the Giants.
Yeah, I was big on another Vancouver Giant back in the day who was a smaller guy, Brendan Gallagher. So I'm always big on Cameron Schmidt. I'm always big on the smaller guys that play a little bit of a grittier game and love to get in there. So I love Cameron Schmidt and the way he plays.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Gallagher, one of the most successful Vancouver Canucks of all time. That's exactly who you want on your team, right? Like, I know that his salary is a little bit high, but I would think that all 32 teams would want Brendan Gallagher on their team, just from what he brings from a leadership perspective, just that like annoying to play against. He's still productive. He's a leader in that locker room. Like that's the exact type of player that every team, especially young teams, should be trying to look at to replicate in their development system.
What can you say about Ryan Lynn? This is a guy that is, of course, is a projected top 10, top 5 pick on some people's rankings already. I know that he loves Quinn Hughes, tries to play like Quinn Hughes. I've read tons about him from you and other people as well. What is the expectation out of Lynn this year? And you already kind of alluded to his power play and what he can kind of do with Schmidt. How do you feel Lynn is going to do this season?
I think that people around the league are gonna realize that Ryan Lynn is not only an offensive defenseman. Like he is very good defensively. He reads the play really well. Like he's not the most physical defender, but he's really smart with his stick and stick placement, and also just kind of like his body position. So he can win board battles without being super physical, just based off the fact that he knows where to stand on the ice, like where to be on the ice. Because if you block off if you have your stick on one end and you're strong on your stick, and then you have your skate on the other end, your opposition can't do much. Like, and I think that's kind of an underrated part of his game. But I mean, offensively, like this is a guy who was in the running for Rookie of the Year. Like he's doing stuff that we've only seen like Scott Niedermayer do basically before Lynn and DuPont and Verhoff before he left arrived. I think that, yeah, size is going to play a factor in like the fact that there's going to be teams that are like, yeah, he's good. He's a great defenseman, but like he's smaller. So we're not going to spend a top 5 pick on him, which I mean, that's just the NHL. But yeah, you talked about, he loves Quinn Hughes. Like I've talked to him a couple times about it. Like he's doing spin moves at the blue line. And I remember I asked him he did a spin move at the blue line in one game, and I asked him about it. And he was talking to me about how he watches Quinn Hughes and the way that Quinn Hughes basically like changes his weight around in order to be able to do those spins or change direction. And that's something that he's really focusing on. So, I mean, in the offensive zone, he's one of the best playmaking defenders in the league already. We'll see if he can add, some more scoring to his game. Speaking of Quinn Hughes, that's what Quinn Hughes did, right? We all thought he was just going to be this like playmaking, 70 assists, 5 goals type guy. And now he's almost hit 20 like in his career.
Yeah.
Right. So if Lynn can add that goal scoring impact, it's going to be massive for the Giants. And I mean, it's just fun to watch. Like, and he's also like he's a good kid, like to talk to. Like he'll give you good answers. Like a lot of the time when we're in the WHL, like kids they're 16, 17, 18-year-olds, right? Like they don't talk a lot. Like they'll give you 2-word answers, and that's fine. Like that happens. But like Lynn, he'll actually go deep into he'll actually explain what he was thinking on plays. He'll kind of explain like situations and things like that, which I really appreciate, obviously, because then you can actually use the quotes. But yeah, he's also like he's just really happy all the time. Like that's the general sense that I get, which you kind of want on when you're in junior, like, junior day, like those road trips are tough in junior. So like to have a player who's like that competitive and kind of like all around in a good mood, like that's a big positive to the organization.
Yeah, and he's a guy that I think is gonna just break out this year. Like 70 points, maybe more. Well, like we'll see. Like he was close last year. He lit it up last year. Like you said, it was just him and DuPont who were putting up those, absurd numbers and matching Scott Niedermayer. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do this year and raise his draft stock a bit.
Adam, there was a couple things I wanted to touch on. We were just talking about a couple of guys that are also right now at the Hlinka, and Canada's playing in a pre-tournament game against Hungary. Colton, I know we talked about this at the top of the show. It was 4-1. Now it's 7-1. Canada and Hungary. Let me just check this. A couple of WHL guys, Adam. DuPont, Mathis Preston, guys like Keaton Verhoff, they're all getting on the score sheet. What can you say about these guys at the Hlinka right now and how they're going to go forward?
Well, first off, I saw the roster for the lines, and I don't understand how you can split up the Ruck brothers. Like,
yeah,
I saw that Liam Ruck was on the first line and Marcus Ruck was like the 13th forward or something like that. I'm like, come on, like you got to play them together. Like that's the whole point of this. They're amazing together. That's like you don't split up, like you didn't split up the Sedins, right? Like you don't split up the Ruck brothers. But I mean, like that whole Canada Hlinka team, like the WHL just makes up their whole defense basically, which is obviously great to see. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how Canada does in this tournament. The US is a very strong team. We've seen strong performances from, Czechia in the past, but I'm I'm excited to see how the Ruck brothers do. Carson Carrolls, Ryan Lind, like these are all guys who should have good tournaments. The WHL is going to play a massive factor in this tournament. And I mean, it's always just good to see the development, like how these players adapt to new situations, because they're not playing with their regular teammates. Like they're playing with OHL guys, they're playing with Q guys. Like they need to come together as a team and really build that connection. So, I mean, it says a lot if a player can, jump into a position and have a strong tournament, because it shows that they can be dynamic, that they can play in different situations, and also just with different teammates.
Now, a couple of those guys Colton and I were talking about, specifically the 17-year-olds Landon DuPont and Keaton Verhoff, and their possibility of making the World Junior team, because guys like Stephen Ellis at Daily Faceoff actually had them on his projected roster. I want to know what you think. Do you think DuPont and Verhoff have a chance of making the World Junior team?
Well, Verhoff's going to be an interesting one because we go back to the whole NCAA discussion. Like he's not in the WHL anymore. How willing is Canada to go with not just an NCAA player, but an undrafted NCAA player? And I know that they're going with McKenna. That's a little bit different because forward groups are a little bit different than defensive groups. Like it's still a 19-year-old tournament. Like that's how Canada sees it. And there's still quite a few WHL players or CHL players on defense that they probably view higher than Verhoff. So I don't know if DuPont makes it this year just because of the defensive element of it. Like there's only 8 slots for defensemen. Like so maybe DuPont makes it next year where it's his draft year. Like kind of like I don't know if they would bring a 16-year-old or 17-year-old defenseman. Verhoff, yeah. I mean, I've seen people talk about how he's going to go top 5. I agree. He's probably going to go in the top 3. But I don't know if Canada is at the point where they're going to say, listen, we want Verhoff on the World Junior team. Maybe next year, but I don't know if this coming tournament they view it like that.
Something else that I kind of noticed was that Hockey Canada, they announced that they're going with a longer selection camp. They're actually going to start it at the end of November, and they're going to move away from those 2 games against the U Sports All-Stars and then one other inter-squad game, and they're actually going to go for a long selection camp. CHL teams are in agreement with this, but I don't know if the NCAA teams are going to be, because I know last year Maine, they kept Bradley Nadeau until the very first pre-tournament game in Ottawa. So Nadeau didn't actually join the team until they got to Ottawa. I don't know if it was like the Maine holding him back, or if it was just Canada saying like, it's okay, you're going to make the team, just join us then. But do you think the NCAA teams would have anything to say about Team Canada's longer selection camp and them being taken away from their NCAA teams for a longer period of time?
Well, I mean, the NCAA also has to be careful with that, because Team Canada can easily just say, okay, we're not going to take any NCAA players. Canada wouldn't do that, but like that's the argument. Like, Canada does have a little bit of leverage in this, Team Canada. I don't think that they would deny like taking Gavin McKenna, but like there's other players in the NCAA like that we've already seen move from the CHL over, that they could be like, no, we're not going to take them because you guys are playing games. Like, and I know that's like a dumb way of looking at it, but like that's kind of the Hockey Canada mantra, right? Like, it's, you're going to do it our way or else. But I mean, this is a good idea. Like, it allows players to bond a little bit more, gives them a little bit of time. And I mean, based off of how Team Canada has done the last couple of years, this can't hurt, right? Like, they need to find a way to get back onto the podium. They need to find a way to fix whatever issues have been going on the last couple of years and get back to the Team Canada standard at the World Junior, which is, yeah, you might not medal every year, but like you can't go 2 years without not getting a medal.
Yeah, 2 years without even making the semifinals, in fact. So that's brutal for Canada.
What do you make of Keaton Verhoff, and how do you think he's going to do this year?
I mean, Verhoff is he's a special talent. He's going to have Cole Reshny with him this year, so I think that's a really smart move, where you kind of go with somebody that you already know, because it's going to be overwhelming. Like, Verhoff is a really good player, but like, even if he plays well, it's still going to be an overwhelming situation for any, 17-year-old coming into the NCAA, because he could be playing against 25-year-olds next year. Like, that's a total possibility. It depends on how, other teams stack their roster, but like, he's going to get, it's like, he's a good player, and I think he's going to do really well in the NCAA just because he's that good of a player, but it's going to be an adjustment for him, like it's going to be for every NCAA player. I'm just kind of interested to see. I know that that there's also been discussion. Craig Button recently mentioned it, where it's like, could we see some players come back to the WHL after the NCAA? Like, we saw that with Tyson Jugnauth. So that will be an interesting one to watch as well. But I mean, like, I don't know how this is going to play out with the NCAA and like players, because it's going to be overwhelming for some players.
Yeah, 100%. And that clip was our clip too, from Craig talking about it. So we talked about that off the top of the show, and I actually used your example as my example. Who did you just say? Oh, Jesus. Tyson Jugnauth. That's exactly who it was. I used that as my example too, because I was like, that's the most recent player I can think of that went to the NCAA and then said, no, I'm going back to Portland. But as we kind of wind down, Adam, we've been asking everybody this, and we're going to ask you this. What is your favorite WHL jersey?
Are we talking current, or are we talking like old time?
Let's do current.
Yeah, current.
Because we did a draft, or not a draft, a ranking the other day, and we ranked all 3 leagues, the CHL feeder leagues, and actually the top jersey in each one, the OHL, WHL, and QMJHL, our top jersey was green. Each one, Colton.
Well, I personally like the black jersey, so I'm a big fan of the Vancouver Giants black third. Well, I don't know if they're going to make it their regular one, or if they're going to keep it their third, but that black jersey. I mean, I also like the what was it called? The Chickens jersey.
Oh, the Cobra Chickens.
Cobra Chickens. Yeah. Like, I like when teams do rebranding for like a game or two. I just think that's fun, and it's like, it's junior hockey, so why not? Like have a little bit of fun with it. Yeah, but like I'm a big fan of like the darker jerseys, like because I just think that black looks so good against the white ice. So if you have a good black jersey, that's kind of the route that I go down.
What do you make of Everett's new third jerseys that they've announced now, and they're going to wear them every Friday?
I like when you have those type of, I don't want to say it's a gimmick, but like those type of promotions where it's like every Friday night we're gonna rock out with these new jerseys. They're nice. I like their regular jerseys a little bit better. I just think that there's something about that the original shade of green that just works so well with Everett. Like it just works well with like they've done such a good job marketing the team around that color. So
Yes.
I mean, yeah, like the third jerseys are great, but I mean that when you see that shade of green like that, you think Everett. So I think that their original is still the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Adam, thanks so much for joining us today on short notice. It was awesome to chat some WHL stuff with you, and we're going to have you back on once all these rosters kind of get set for some WHL predictions.
Yeah, anytime. Going to be an exciting season, especially with the addition of Penticton, and we'll see exactly how, I guess, all the standings shake out.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Adam.
Take care, Adam. Colton, I don't know if you can see this. There's a fly flying around here. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill it.
You got to clean your room.
What do you mean clean my room?
Why is
It's
there a
damp.
fly?
It's one singular fly, and it's damp. It's because the dehumidifier is not running right now, but it's going to piss me off.
Willie's making fun of you in the chat.
No making fun here, fellas. This is a safe space. We listen and we don't judge.
Sure.
All right. Well, Colton, you know what? We're not going to go to a commercial today because Willie says I need to change it up. So you know what, Willie? For you, this weekend, I'm going to make 2 new commercials. 1 new commercial. The Patreon one's not changing. But the Quench commercial, I'll make a new one for you, Willie. How does that sound?
Oh, you've bullied him into it. Good job, Will.
Yeah. I can be bullied.
Apparently. Did we want to go over Craig Button's World Juniors roster, or do you want to do that tomorrow?
We can go over it now quickly. Why not? Let's pop it up. Definitely a lot different than ours, eh, Colton?
Yeah, much different. So for the guys that are listening, forwards are Gavin McKenna, Michael Misa, Tej Ginla, Liam Greentree, Sam O'Reilly, which is one we did not have, Caleb Denoye, Berkeley Catton, Roger McQueen, Porter Martone, Beckett Seneca, Michael Hage, and Brady Martin. For Craig's defense, he's got Schaefer, Perek, Dickinson, Brunick, Aitchison, and Danford, and in goal, Carter George, Jack Ivankovic, and Josh Ravensbergen. So the goalies are the same for us. Some of the forwards are the same. Defense is quite different. We had a couple different defensemen, but I like Craig's list too. I like Steven's team the best, I think, so far. That's no bias, of course, but
No
I think
bias to our own.
No, but I think I think Steven's list makes a lot of sense. I liked his roster projection. It's just, like he didn't have Perek on it, but it's because he has Perek in the NHL with Calgary and just not getting sent back. So it'll be interesting. But nonetheless,
I think Sam O'Reilly's a good pick, actually. I think that's a really smart pick.
I think for a third line, like versatile two-way guy, penalty kill player, that's a perfect pick. Absolutely. Let him play.
I mean, the guy just won a Memorial Cup. He's coming off. He's probably got some confidence in his game. Probably going to walk into that locker room and be like, all right, guys, I'm him.
Yes.
I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good addition. Absolutely. We're kind of winding down here. Tomorrow, Cam Jansen, former NHLer, former fighter, former Windsor Spitfire, Cam Jansen will be joining us tomorrow. We're going to talk about his OHL career and his NHL career, of course, as well. But that should be a fun one. Cam is absolutely awesome. You guys have probably seen his stuff on the Cam and Strick podcast. So, yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
Definitely. Tomorrow should be a fun one. Friday is always a good one. What do you got planned for the weekend? Like anything exciting? How was the Stankoven thing last night at Kamloops Kia?
There was so many people. It was insane.
I know. I saw the pictures on the Twitter, and I was trying to find you. I was like zooming in on the pictures. I was like, "Where's Colton?"
No, I wasn't one of the people like actually like standing in there, like waiting.
No, you were like
autograph stuff. I was just like to the side, and yeah, it was crazy, man. It was absolutely nuts how many people were there. Like probably 300 to 500 people showed up. I was blown away. That place was bumping.
They should have given away a car.
Oh, they gave away a lot of cool stuff. Honestly, they gave away these Stankoven Lego set things. Yeah. That was badass, man. They gave away five jerseys.
Except the font on the things wasn't Carolina font. I was like,
Well, no, because they made them themselves, right?
Copyright.
Yep, 100%. But yeah, no, that was sick. This weekend, I don't even know what's happening this weekend. It's Hot Night in the City and Rib Fest here in Kamloops, so maybe go do that.
Oh, Rib Fest. I'll see you then. I'll make the trip out to Kamloops.
Sounds perfect.
No, I'm just joking. We got Rib Fest in the city here.
There you go.
Well, folks, I think that brings us to the end of it. Colton, thanks for another great one this Thursday. Tomorrow, we'll be back at it. This fly's about to actually fly in my mouth. 11 a.m., 2 p.m., right back here on GDT Live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning into another video over here on the Game Day Tarps podcast and the Hockey Podcast Network. We've got so much more where this came from, so smash the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell, turn the notifications on so you never miss a beat. For myself and the rest of the guys over at Game Day Tarps, we thank you, and we'll see you next time.